Hi guys, it's Nat at Illustrious Shadows Plans. I'm back with another video. Thank you for joining me. If you're new here, thank you very much for coming. If you're not, you're returning, thank you very much for coming back. Today I wanted to talk to you about commonplace books. You might have seen some videos or some articles on the internet, or perhaps a TikTok reel or two about commonplacing, and you might have been wondering what it's all about. Commonplacing has really come back into popularity recently. I think commonplacing is something that everybody should consider doing, especially if they're someone who consumes a lot of media, which we all tend to be in this day and age. I'm going to show you inside my commonplace book, which is in here, and I'm going to talk a little bit about what commonplacing is and what it isn't, and you'll see that my commonplace book is probably, to a purist, technically not a commonplace book. It errs more into a journal, but I do find it very useful and I really enjoy keeping it, and I think it's very difficult to have a rigid rule set on this. However, as you'll see when we talk a little bit more about what commonplacing is, there are definitely some people who have very rigid ideas on what it should and shouldn't be. There were two kind of different schools of thought on record keeping and kind of learning and that kind of thing. So some people would keep a commonplace book, but some people would just do what's called Marginalia, where they would write in the margins of manuscripts or texts. And that's something we see quite often with the monks, and we see quite often in kind of really historical texts. But this is kind of more of a personal thing. This is something you could put in your pocket and take with you. So what is a commonplace book? According to Harvard University Libraries, a commonplace book is a collection of significant or well-known passages that have been copied and organised in some way, often under topical or thematic headings, in order to serve as a memory aid or reference for the compiler. That's all it is. It's just a collection of quotes and things that you find that resonate with you. But some people have taken it a little bit further, and to do that we need to skip back into the past a little. Commonplace books have been around for thousands of years. There's evidence that they were used by the ancient Greeks and ancient Romans, which is incredible to think about. They didn't really start to take off in modern popularity until the Renaissance era in Europe, which was the 15th and 16th century. There was a philosopher in Europe called John Locke, who was very well known for creating commonplace books. And after his death, his book, which has a very long French title, I've linked a copy of the manuscript of it below in the description box if you'd like to check out a scanned copy of it. He invented this indexing system for commonplace books. So before, commonplace books were just information in a book format, and then they became a structured thing. But he made it more simple to find the information that you put in a commonplace book. So he created an index at the front of his commonplace book, which had 23 letters and then the subsequent vowels that could follow that letter in it. So he had like AI, AO, AU, AE, that kind of thing. Anything that he put in his commonplace book had a heading, and that heading would then be indexed in the front of his commonplace book, so you'd know what page to turn to. So for example, if he had read an interesting piece on the wind speed of an unladen African swallow, he would maybe head that under birds, and he would put that on page BI under the heading birds. So he knew when he wanted to look at something about birds, he could turn to that page. It is a little bit complicated. There is a link to his manuscript in the text box below if you wanted to have a look at it, because it is a really interesting piece of history, I think, to look at. But he had this really rigid idea on commonplace books. So other people in history have disagreed with how he did it. Notably, E.M. Forster, the English writer who wrote things like A Room with a View, actually inherited a commonplace book that had John Locke's method in the front of it. And he said he couldn't get on with it, he couldn't do it, he just did his own thing in the end. Other famous people who've used commonplace books were people like Jonathan Swift, who wrote Gulliver's Travels, and he actually said that a commonplace book is something that a provident poet cannot subsist without, for this proverbial reason that great wits have short memories. Which I think is a beautiful quote, and is probably going to end up in my commonplace book. Many other famous people throughout history have kept commonplace books, including H.P. Lovecraft, the Bronte family, and many philosophers, authors, socialists, and social changers. So I think they're worth looking at. The key thing to remember with a Commonplace book is it is not a diary and it is not a journal. So you shouldn't be writing anything that is personal in it, if that makes sense. But everything contained within a Commonplace book will have personal meaning to the author of that Commonplace book, because it's all things that resonate with you from the media that you consume. I've left a link to several blog posts in the description box below if you wanted to check out more information about what a Commonplace book is and what it should be and what it can be. Okay, so if I bring you in a little bit closer, we can have a look at my Commonplace book. So my Commonplace book is in this kind of traveller's notebook style housing. This is an unofficial traveller's notebook holder, and it isn't an official traveller's notebook company booklet in it. I think I got this from The Works maybe, but if I open it up you can see it's similar in style. So we've got a little pocket here, I don't keep anything in there. There is another notebook which is lined, this one's a little square grid, and I just keep some spare paper at the back of there. I'm going to move this out of the way. So my Commonplace book, I've decorated the front cover. These stickers are unfortunately peeling off, so I might take them off at some point, but... And then I've done a little front page here. And actually the first page is not a Commonplace book page, so this is a journal entry from when we went to St Austell, which is a town down in Cornwall in the UK, and it's beautiful. We went on a nice little holiday there, and I just did some journaling. So this was before I wanted to use this as a Commonplace book. But then when you turn the page, this is my Commonplace book. And as you can see, this has no index, there is no organisation to this, so this is very much not what John Locke would call a Commonplace book, but it is a collection of information, quotes and thoughts that I have that I really enjoy. I'm going to be honest with you, 90% of this is either quotes from books or poems that I really find resonate with me. And if I get you in a little bit closer, you can see a little bit more. And I've really gone ham with decorating this. I think, for me, decoration is really important in something like this, because if I don't decorate it, I will not be interested in writing in it. And I think that's sad, because I do really enjoy the videos of people who have done Commonplace books where it is literally just writing, but there's something in me, I just don't think my handwriting's consistent enough. You know, I don't have that level of dedication to make sure that everything is in the same ink, the same pen, to make it look as beautiful as those people make theirs look. So I've gone with stickers and highlighters and pens that are slightly different. This is from a chocolate box that my friend gave me. This is just a nice sticker from one of my sticker books. This is a little poem that I wrote myself, and I've just kind of gone through and decorated. So I haven't completed that many pages. This does have a quote on it. This says, "Let us live like flowers, wild and beautiful and drenched in sun." But I stuck it on this dark navy card and you cannot read it. It takes me ages to try and find it in the light. It's one of my biggest regrets because it's so hard to read. You cannot read that. But there we go. I'm not covering it up. It's gonna stay there because the point of this is that it's things that I like. So I've just gone through and put down kind of poems that I like, quotes that I found on Facebook Reels and things. This is from Grapes of Wrath. I wrote this in this morning, so I haven't put down here that it's by John Steinbeck. Haven't attributed this yet. This is just a little excerpt of Annabel Lee. And then if I turn the page, I'll show you how I kind of get started with these pages. So I always stick a couple of stickers down, and then I've just put the poem in here. And I just kind of haphazardly put in what I want to put in. And on this page as well, I've done this one too. So I've got plenty of space to put in what I want to put in. There's loads of space at the back of this. I don't know if I'll ever finish it, if I'll ever fill it, but I certainly enjoy looking at it. and I do spend a lot of time in here. I've made a little pocket there to stick some stuff in. And I think it's really useful because there's some things that really resonate in here for me. And it's just a collection of beautiful words that I enjoy, is probably how I would put it. And that is, like I said, not really what a traditional commonplace book is about. A traditional commonplace book is a lot more focused on learning aspect. In history, they would have been kept much more formally as kind of an addendum to learning. So maybe scientists might have kept them, engineers, that kind of thing. But I think we live in a very creative age, and why not keep a collection of the words that spark joy within you? That's my commonplace book. I hope you enjoyed this video. A little bit shorter than some of my other videos, I know, but I really enjoyed filming it and researching it. I did go into a little bit of a deep hole when I was looking into the history of commonplace books, and it is really interesting. So if you're interested in that kind of thing, I would say to you, you know, keep looking into it and build up your own ideas of what you want your commonplace book to be. Look into the research and look at what people have done using kind of John Locke's method, but also you can use it as just a space to put down words that mean a lot to you without having to attribute your own feelings to them. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you haven't already, please do consider subscribing to my channel. I would love to hit 400 subscribers by the end of the year. We're on 303, I think, at the moment, which is fantastic, considering this channel's only really been up for 5 or 6 months. I'm really pleased with that, and I love having you all here. I will be back again with another video soon. Take care of yourselves, and I'll see you later. Bye bye.